I haven't been to my comic shop in about 3 weeks, either because I was traveling or was too lazy to make the 20-minute drive over there. But I finally made it by there, picked up my books, and so in this video, I'm actually going to show you 3 weeks worth of comics that I have scored, as well as some other items that I've picked up. There are a couple of purchases and then also an AOK, which stands for an act of kindness. There's a lot of new people that come to the channel that are coming to the hobby that don't know what some of these acronyms mean, so I wanted to offer it up. But in this video, we're going to take a look at all this stuff that is sitting on my desk. And as a reminder, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I want to encourage you to do so now. That way, you don't miss out on any of the content that gets released from my channel. And if you're feeling frisky, you can go ahead and turn on notifications and also leave a comment behind so we can mix it up in the comment section. With that said, let's take a look at the awesome stuff that is actually shown up here at the house. The very first thing that I want to show you is actually a purchase that was made from my comic shop. And I recently saw that the owner of my comic shop suffered a stroke and he has turned over control of the company to his son and his wife. I definitely have some positive thoughts for him, wishing him a speedy recovery. MyComicShop.com is a fantastic resource that I go to often to pick up books when I'm unable to get them from my local comic shop directly. So the two books that I picked up from them are from Boom Studios. The first one is Eat the Rich issue number 1. And this is the regular, I think, cover A. Yeah, that's cover A right there. I've read this book. It is an interesting read. I am waiting to see what happens with issue 2 to see where this thing goes. But issue 1 was interesting, right? I also decided to pick up another copy of issue number 1, but I decided to go in a slightly different direction. And I honestly cannot remember what type of variant this is, but this is 1F. And it could be like a 1 in 50, 1 in 100. I honestly cannot remember, but it has foil. And you guys know how I feel about some foil. So just a really, really nice cover right here. So her gloves are basically, I guess that's blood, but they're foil red. And then Eat the Rich is written down here in red foil as well. Just a really cool cover. I dig this cover right here. So those are the two books that I picked up from my comic shop. Definitely pleased to have those in the collection. And as I mentioned, I'm excited to see where this thing actually goes. So this next one, this next stack of books here that I'm going to show you are actually some books that were sent to me by Scott P. And Scott P and I work together from time to time on various projects. Super talented graphic guy, does a lot of the t-shirts and things like that I put out. He recently organized an event at his local LCS where he brought in a couple of creators. And I mentioned the event on the channel, and to say thank you, he actually sent me a couple of signed books from those very same creators. And so definitely want to give a shout out to them and to him because he certainly did not have to do this. The first one right here, this is cool. This is Duplicant. Duplicant issue number 1 right there, signed by Carla Nappy. And I only know that because I know Carla. I cannot read her signature at all, but this is a cool book. It's actually an interesting read. I believe that what she does is she puts these books up on Kickstarter and runs a campaign, and she takes the proceeds from the campaign to basically pay off the cost for the printing, I'm guessing, but also for the artwork as well. That was the one thing she mentioned to me with the artwork, but I'm assuming that she uses it for other costs as well. But again, this is an interesting read. Indie creator that is putting this out. Definitely a cool book. So that is issue number 1 of Duplicant. I've also read all of these as well. She gave me a preview. I read issues 1 through 5, I do believe, and those aren't even out right now. I do not know if this is another issue number 1. This could be another variant of issue number 1. I'm not certain. There's no numbers or trade dress on this one, but I'm assuming that is issue number 1. I could be wrong about that. Here is issue number 2, and it looks like she's publishing this through Second Sight Publishing. This is issue number 2 of Duplicant. And again, if you guys haven't read this, check it out. It is worth the read. It really is. Let's see what this might be the variant for issue number 2. Again, not certain because there's nothing on here, but definitely a cool cover right there. So really, really cool stuff. Next up, we have a book that I've actually spoken about a few times. This is Red Shift. Red Shift, and this is issue number 1 right here. I think that this one is cover A. This is from HS Tack right here. I have not read issue number 2, but I have read issue number 1. Again, a good read, and I'm waiting to see where the story is actually going to go, but he signed it right over here in silver, which I think is cool. Here is another book. I did not buy this one. I came close to buying this cover of it, but he signed this one in gold. Again, issue number 1 right there of Red Shift. So shout out to these creators, and shout out to Scott P for hooking me up with those books. That is very, very cool. So thank you, sir. All right. Next thing I'll show you is a really cool book that I picked up from Judah. I think that's how you say his name. Judah, who goes by the name of Joey the Stunt Master. Joey the Stunt Master. And this is a shared profile that he has with his son. And he reached out to me, made me an offer. We had a little back and forth, and I ended up picking up a really cool book from him. This one is Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 1, a 9.8 with white pages. And I would show it to you out of the plastic, but there is this seal on the back with a certificate of authenticity from Dynamic Forces right there on the back. And I'm honestly not sure how much this is worth. And I'm not talking about dollars and cents, but is it really worth anything at this point with the certificates of authenticity that get placed in and with comics? I'm not certain. I thought it was a cool book. Again, you guys know that I'm a fan of Miles Morales. I've pulled together his entire, I think it's his 4th solo run for my son. And I decided to go ahead and pick that one up because I did not have that in the collection. So just a really cool book there. Shout out to Joey, the Stunt Master, for allowing me to make that purchase. Next up, as promised, here is a massive stack of books that have been picked up from the LCS after several weeks. The first couple that I'll show you are from Bad Idea, and I think that these are their final 5. This is Monster Kill Squad. I'm guessing, yeah, issue number 1 right there, Monster Kill Squad from Bad Idea. Next up, Pirate Queen. I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know how I feel about that. I basically committed to buying all the final 5, and technically I've already given the LCS my money because you had to prepay for some of these, so I went ahead and got it anyway. This one is Hero Trade Passive Aggressive, and this is from Matt Kent. I think that's how you say his last name. I've actually spoken to Matt a few times on the Instagram machine. Seems like an awesome guy. There's this whole passive-aggressive or aggressive-passive stuff that's out there. I don't fully appreciate it all, but they did some stuff where they gave one half of the country one type of book and the other half something different. Again, some Bad Idea stuff. Here is Tankers issue number 3. This is not part of the final 5, but just an ongoing series. I think it's issues 1 through 5, and we're at issue number 3 right there. I've read 1 and 2. I enjoyed them. Looking forward to reading number 3. This is Icon and Rocket season 1. Really cool book. It read issue number 1. Thought it was good, and I'm waiting to see where they actually take the story. I'm hoping that they take all of these milestone books into a new direction versus continuing to just rehash the stuff that we've seen from the past. So fingers crossed that issue number 2 is a good one. Speaking of good issue number 1s, that I'm waiting to see what happens in subsequent issues. The Me You Love in the Dark from Scotty Young. He is actually the writer on this, not the artist. He is actually the writer. I read it. It's good. Let's see where this one actually goes. Speaking of good stuff, I read this one last night. This is Geiger, issue number 5. This is a series that I have been thoroughly enjoying. Read this one last night, like I said, and today, this morning, I actually read this one. Geiger, issue number 6. Very interesting. It seems like the first arc has come to an end with this one, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in issue number 7, assuming that there is going to be an issue number 7. Fingers crossed, because it is Not certain that we're going to get another one, but I think that we will, because the first 6 issues were solid, and I'm assuming also sold well based upon the number of people that have been talking about this title. Speaking of titles that aren't so good that are also coming to an end, The Immortal Hulk. No, I haven't read this in quite some time, but I'm committed to the title. This is issue number 49. It is going until 50, and then I do believe that another creative team is actually going to be taking over, so looking forward to seeing what that team brings to bear. Here is Miles Morales, issue number 29, the Clone Saga Fallout right there. This is a series I mentioned earlier that I'm keeping on my pull list so that I can have them all. Here is issue number 71 of The Amazing Spider-Man. I honestly cannot wait for this to end. Nick Spencer. I can't wait. Here is issue number 72. Fingers crossed that the new creative team that is going to be coming in as Nick Spencer makes his way to Substack brings some different type of energy to Amazing Spider-Man. And by different, I mean some actual energy to Amazing Spider-Man. Here's issue number 3 of Static Season 1. Have not read this one. I want to say that this is essentially a limited series. I think it runs through issue 6, and fingers crossed that they are able to continue it. But issue number 3 is out. Bought a copy. Looking forward to reading it. Here is issue 3 of Moths. This is one I'm having a hard time remembering how issue number 2 was. I read issue number 1. I think that I enjoyed that. I cannot recall reading issue number 2 because there's a chance that I did not read it. This next title in the last set of books that I'm going to show you is one that I've picked up from Bad Idea. I could not even get through issue number 1. I am not enjoying it, but I'm committed to buying them, so I am going to do it. If you've read this and it's good, please let me know, because I've tried to read issue number 1 twice and I cannot get through it. I cannot. But this is The Lot issue number 2. And the artwork, the covers, I think are really, really fun. The black and white look of these, I think is really, really fun. I am struggling with the story, however. This is issue number 3. Again, striking covers, high quality stuff that comes out from Bad Idea. I mean, they are doing a really fine job, and I cannot tell. Yeah, I think that's actually a spot gloss that they put on there. I mean, they're spending good money on these books. They really are sparing no expense when it comes to some of this stuff. But with that said, that is essentially the books that I wanted to show you in this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, I want to encourage you to go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, because it is good for the algorithm. And if you're feeling frisky, go ahead and leave a comment behind about the stuff that I showed. If there's something you liked, here's something I should read and prioritize and all that kind of stuff. I definitely want to hear from you. To that point, if you need to reach out to me, you can do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.